Hi, everyone. So this week we are closing out the Victorian era. So we're going to close it out with Rudyard Kipling and his short story, The Man Who Would Be King. This is the longest of the readings that you're doing this semester, but it's also an important one because we're going to be talking a little bit this week about what was known as imperialism, where England at one time actually conquered so much land or claimed so much land under its dominion that it was said that the sun never set on Victoria's kingdom. Right, somewhere in the world, the sun was shining on a piece of land that England had claimed, whether it was in South America, whether it was on some island, whether it was in Asia, whether it was in Europe, wherever, Africa, they claimed a lot of Africa as well. Somewhere there was sun shining on a piece of land owned by England. That's because England claimed dominion over about a quarter of all the landmass in the whole world. So, the Man Who Would Be King is by Rudyard Kipling. If you've ever heard of Rudyard Kipling, you probably know him as the man who wrote The Jungle Book, which, of course, Disney made a couple of movie versions of. So, in this story, two ne'er-do-wells by the name of Daniel and Peachy go out into what is now modern-day Afghanistan, and they conquer it, and they become kings, at least for a little while, and then the people started thinking they were gods. And so a lot of the tactics that they used were uh, similar to the tactics that England used to conquer India. So, India, of course, was the crown jewel of Queen Victoria's kingdom. And so, what they did, India at the time wasn't one great, big, large united country like it is now. It was a bunch of tribes. And so, what England did was they united those tribes, had them go to war with each other, had them unite together, things like that. And then eventually they were able to conquer all of India. And so what Peachy and Daniel are going to do in this story is very similar to that. And they will be kings at least for a little while until one of them makes a crucial mistake that has people believing that they're not gods after all, but rather that they are only human and therefore they don't have any dominion over them. So think about that. Also think about the Masonic imagery that's in here. Rudyard Kipling himself was a Freemason, and so a lot of the handshakes and a lot of the symbols and things like that that appear in the story have their roots in Freemasonry as well. So, and that helps Daniel and Peachy actually conquer this land, this Kafiristan. So, the Man Who Would Be King. Also, you do have to take the Victorian exam. It's going to cover everything from Alfred Lord Tennyson to the Man Who Would Be King. Again, it's just going to be like the last one. You're going to have general knowledge questions, and then you're going to have some quotations that you're going to need to know who said it. So, same thing with the quotations. They're pretty long, but there's usually a key word or a key phrase in there that will give away who is the writer or where the story came from. So, for example, you know, uh, you're going to recognize quotes from this week's story because it talks about Daniel and Peachy's fate. So anyway, so Victorian exam, the Man Who Would Be King. There are no discussions this week, or actually it says there is a discussion. That may or may not be true. But make sure you, at the very minimum, take the reading quiz and then take the Victorian exam so that we can close out the Victorian era. And then next week we'll start with the 20th century.